Okay, so this is the Town of Fairfield Solid Waste Recycling Commission meeting. It is Monday, February 8th at 7:02, and the recording is on. If we could start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we, from now on, guys, we can say that all together in the future to make it easier for everybody. You don't have to wait for me. So we have everybody's seen our agenda, and I'm going to ask the permission of the commission if we can just revise. I've asked John Marcelio, and he's been gracious enough to join us. He's the interim public works director. His people have given us a tremendous amount of help, and John, we appreciate that. And we also appreciate the... Hi. Is that Joe? Oh, hi, Joe. We just began, so you haven't missed anything. We said the pledge.
All right.
So, John, we appreciate your department's assistance, and for the commission, I want you to know that we're here to help the department. We're here to help the town. Of course, we all love the town. We all some of us work for it, and some of us work in it. And we know that you come from an extensive background with Easton, Trumbull, Monroe, and a lot of communities of public works and solid waste. So you're not coming in this operation blind, although your plate is pretty full. So we appreciate that, and I want to give you 15 minutes to say hello to us and anything you want to say, and then we might have some questions. Is that good?
Sure. So my name is John Marcelio. I was hired right after Thanksgiving to assume the role of Public Works Director. I was the Public Works Director in Trumbull for 10 years prior to this. I retired last March. And before that, I was the Director of Capital and Planning for Aquarion Water Company. And before that, I was Director of Public Facilities in the city of Bridgeport for 11 years. And before that, I was in the construction business for a couple decades. So in my role as Public Facilities Director in Bridgeport, I initiated the most extensive recycling program in the state of Connecticut because it was the largest city in the state of Connecticut, and I was responsible for implementing recycling in Bridgeport in 1993. We did our own recycling, had our own trucks, had our own workers, and it was pretty successful, but at that time it was an abbreviated bit of recycling in that it was just 1, 2, and 7 plastics. It was newspaper and cardboard. It was glass and cans, and that was about it. And so there were markets for all of those, and it worked out pretty well. We also did our own MSW collection. So, again, I had a great deal of experience in that, in the recycling world. In 1985, I was a member of the Solid Waste Task Force in Easton, Connecticut, and I was on the negotiating team that negotiated that original contract that is what is extant today with the waste-to-energy plant in Bridgeport, the Wheelabrator plant. So I have 35 years of experience in this business with municipal solid waste, with recycling. I testified 2 years ago along with Ed Bowman in Hartford with regard to the recycling legislation that was then before the Environmental Committee. I don't know what else you'd want to know about my background. In Trumbull, when I was there, I ran the transfer station, and of course it was a three-town transfer station. It was Trumbull, Monroe, and Easton, and it was just a bit smaller in volume than the Fairfield station, and I did it mostly myself. For a very brief period, we had a recycling educator who went around to schools and did the outreach. But all of the rest of the operations were conducted by my department. So I know I've read some emails. We've had discussions. I know you have ideas about what ought to be done. I have opinions on what works, what doesn't work, and I'd like to hear what you think about these things, and I'll tell you what my position is on some of those.
Hey, John. Before we go to that, which is great, can you just make a couple of comments on the staffing dynamics? What you can tell us about the staffing dynamics in the solid waste department? When most of us got on, there was a director and a secretary. A lot of that is. I've spoken with you. And the rest of the commissioners, we weren't happy with a lot of the information that was not being transferred, and we were quite often left in the dark as to things that were happening. Now we understand that there's been a lot of staffing changes with this early retirement program. What do you see as the near-term and long-term impact with solid waste?
Well, I think I just told you that in the past I've personally handled the operations of the transfer stations. It's just not that complicated. It's, for instance, Mike Z's jobs were done by two administrative assistants in Trumbull, actually one. A portion of it was handled by our capital and finance person. So I don't know what we need. I'm sorry we lost Audrey, because Audrey was hands-on down at the Gale House, and Mike. I think Mike got really comfortable in certain portions of the job that would better be done by administrative folks, and so I don't see that we're going to be replacing Mike. I can do anything Mike did, but we will have to have some administrative help with some reporting and some financial portions of it, but I don't think you worry too much about that. That's more the chief financial officer who has to be concerned with that. In terms of the operations, our desire is to have someone who is day-to-day responsible down at the transfer station for the operations, a go-to person, and that has been brought to the HR department. we have a request to hire someone for the oversight on hands-on down at the transfer station itself. So there's some negotiations going on. And you know how that goes. What union would somebody be put in, and what the pay scale is going to be, and what the hours are going to be, and what the duties are going to be. And so that's just like, you know, watching grass grow sometimes. But we have a plan. If that plan does not work out, I have a backup plan that I don't is not as fully developed, so I'm not ready to share it yet. But I know another way that I might want to do this.
So in the interim, is basically, from what I understand, it'll be yourself that will basically be running the department, right?
Well, Ed's also involved on a day-to-day basis.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Ed has as much, actually has more experience than I do in this world.
Right.
So, you know, between the two of us, it's you know, we can handle that.
Okay, cool. To the commissioners, I'm thinking that you might have a couple of questions. So if anybody would like to ask John a question, I know we'll make it pointed so that he can kind of give an answer so that everybody can benefit. Anybody?
Yes.
Hey,
Joe?
It's Guy Gleason.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Guy.
Chairman?
Yes.
Can I ask a question, Joe? Because I'm leaving at 7:30.
Oh, go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, as a chemist in the business, there's a whole move for bioplastics. These are compostable polymers, and they're made from two basic chemicals, THAs and TLAs. John, do you know anything about that? Because a lot of the rest of the country is moving towards those plastics that have been perfected to mimic the petroplastics, and they're a lot safer. They're biodegradable. They're safe for fish. They're not toxic, and they have to be separated out when they're recycled. But this is really a future, and they've only been perfected. They were first discovered in 1983, and they're really perfected now. Polyhydroxyactinoids and polylactic acid. These are the basic two. Do you know anything about that?
You know, I don't know anything about it. Here's what I know about plastics and recycling. Some of them have value, and some of them don't have value.
Well, according to the research I have, very little of it is now has value because it's very difficult to recycle. Those are petroplastics. But the new plastics I'm talking about are moving. Not many people around here know about them, but in the rest of the country, they're moving into those plastics, and they have to be separated out from the petroplastics.
Okay, but what I heard you say was they're biodegradable.
Yeah, these are made from oil, from natural sources. These
so
are
they
polymers. Yes, no, these are compostable.
Joe,
what?
Are they recyclable?
Yes, but they cannot be mixed with petroplastic compounds. Most of the plastics we use today come from petroleum-based compounds.
Okay, so this is something that we're going to be keeping our eye on.
I just want to know if John knows if he should do more research on that.
No, forward me whatever you have. I'm willing to learn about it, but
yeah, we can meet on that.
That's new to me.
Yeah, I'd like to meet on that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Next, Guy.
Thank you, Hugh. John, so I think it'd be really helpful for the commission just to get a general sense. You said you had opinions about what works and doesn't work, particularly as it relates to recycling. Could you just talk about that? Because we would like to look at some things, but we don't want to do things where either you already know or you have some opinions about what won't work and what will work. So could you give us a little overview of your thoughts there?
Hey, Guy.
Yep.
Guy.
Yep.
I'm not trying to close down the question, but what I was going to suggest that maybe you and or one or a couple of people on your subcommittee meet with John sometime within the next week with respect to your charter, the subcommittee charter, and go over not only that particular item but also the food waste item, because John is pretty familiar with both of those areas.
Yeah, that you know what, that would be perfect, Hugh. So, John, if I could, I'm not exactly sure, but if I could get Hugh could do this. Just connect us via email, and I'll set up time to talk with you and just go over what we're working on and try to get a little insight on your thoughts.
Hey, Guy, can you also include the subcommittee?
Yep.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the subcommittee.
Yeah,
that's good, because we're all on the same page. We don't want our subcommittee working on something, developing ideas, concepts, studies, and research that's already been done. And we're here to help the town and help the department. And so all the members of the subcommittee have the same focus.
Well, look, I'm just let me make a statement. I think, and we're all talking mostly about recyclables when we talk about sustainability. That whole world is in flux right now. I mean, it's hard for me to make decisions or even offer opinions. There's so much going on. It's between the glass pilot plants and the lack of the
demand,
beneficial reuse of organics. And look, let me tell you my opinion. I'll give you the short and sweet answer to how I see recyclables, and that is this: we are always focused on collections and the increasing, getting items in the blue containers. That's where the transition over the years, since I began in the early 90s to now. What else can we put in those containers? I told you early on, when we had everything separated early on, and everything changed when we went to single stream. Problem with single stream was that when the market evaporated, when China shut the door, it became an enormous problem worldwide for everyone. I mean, the goals are noble. The goals of trying to recycle everything that comes into your household they're worthy goals. The problem is, at the other end of the recycling, the actual reuse is not in place yet. They're working on it. They have pilot programs. There's conceptual processing facilities, but we went from getting $60 a ton or $40 a ton to paying $80, $90 a ton. That's a pretty wide swing, and I don't know that there are a lot of things in the recycling stream now that they have answers for to recycle. So I am a firm believer in the packaging efforts that are going on to deal with manufacturers and deal with what comes in your home. Versus just taking anything that comes in and then trying to separate it and then trying to, recycle it. If you look at the, I'll bet that none of you have ever seen the ACR report that we shared with you, and you called Peter up, right, Doug?
John, yes, I did, and also, Commissioners, I sent you that ACR report last Friday, I believe. So you might have had a chance to take a look at it.
So if you take a look at that, you will see what can be recycled and what can't be recycled. Until something's able to be recycled profitably, it's a burden on municipalities, and it's a feel-good situation for the people recycling. They think what they're doing is beneficial, when the fact of the matter is huge parts tonnage-wise of what goes in that blue bin end up being landfilled or end up being burned at the waste to energy plant, because it's
contaminant.
It has no value. So I think until the state gets behind some method.
John, can I give you some? John, excuse me.
Yep.
Can I give you some stats on that from Science Journal, Chemistry Journal that I have? The United States landfills 27 million tons of plastics and recycles a mere 3 million, according to the U.S. Environmental Protection, because they're not recyclable. Because when they try to recycle, they either two ways. They either have to melt them down, smelting, and then they're very difficult to reform into other bottles and other things, or they just crumble. They get mixed up with contaminants. Of the 6.3 billion tons of plastics that have been discarded around the world, only about 9% have gotten recycled. Another 12% have been burned, and almost 80% have piled up on land or waterways. That's why I made the point that these new kinds of plastics that are coming from natural sources, like oils and plants, they are the future, and they will be compostable and recyclable into new products that are sustainable to the environment. So that's something new. I would like to meet you more. I'd like to meet with you more on that, give you those details. I've been in chemistry over 40 years, so I've been following this very carefully.
Okay, I hear you, but they're not here yet, are they?
No, they're not. But the other parts of the country, they are. They're moving into that sustainability. And the real toxic effects of these plastics, the microplastics, go into the water cycle and into the water and the fish population. They don't. That's where we're worried about contaminants that cause cancer and other health issues to people.
No, I've read that, but look, I don't have the answer. I think the problem.
No, we don't. But we at least we should know.
When we went from plastic, when we went from bottles to plastic, I think for the sake of convenience and weight and cost, and we didn't have the answer to that. That was the problem.
Right. But the future of plastics is bioplastics. That's the term. And they're not from petroleum sources, not from petroleum, oil from the ground. These are coming from plant sources. And also from garbage. Organic matter can make bioplastics. That's another thing. Food sources, food waste, garden waste, leaves, cellulose, all of those things.
Joe, can you send that article to all of us?
Well, I'm going to make a copy of it. Yeah, this is from Science Journal that I have, and it just came out in January. I'll make a copy. I'll give it to Hugh, and he can circulate it.
Okay.
I don't want to get too far into the weeds here, but anything that is made into a polymer, by definition, when you polymerize something, it becomes a lot more stable. Now, I'm sure it can be broken down in some way, but whether it comes from a petroleum product or a natural oil, it's still going to be difficult to break down. And
hey guys,
well, depends depends what the monomers are.
I understand that.
Okay, that depends what they are.
Hey guys, this is Hugh. We'll go to little forestry.
All right. Thank you.
So John, I appreciate it. John was answering Guy's, making some comments about Guy's question, and I think thank you, John. I appreciate the input, because the subcommittee is looking exactly at those things, and I think that this is valuable information for them. So, Guy, I'm going to wrap up that particular question. I'm going to try and set aside some time for you guys to meet your subcommittee with John and go over your charter, because I know that you want to focus on things that we can actually do. I mean, listen, pie in the sky. Maybe we should be saying that no more plastic bottles in the town of Fairfield. Maybe it should be only glass bottles with a 25-cent. You know what I mean? Just pie in the sky. I don't know the answer. John doesn't know the answer. Right now, there's a lot of costs. There's a lot of problems and there's a lot of questions. So we're all trying to work on the same thing to get our hand on it. Can we go on to it? Does another committee member, commission member have a question for the director? Okay. Am I on?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Hugh, who's doing the educational outreach? Because that could come under that domain too.
Yeah, that's the subcommittee.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that when we get to the old business and new business section. We're not even there yet. We're not even there yet.
Ed,
I got it.
But I just want you to think of this before you start talking about educational outreach, because the state mandates now what it always mandated for the past, I don't know how long now, for 15 or 20 years, when they went to single-stream recycling. They still have the same list of items to recycle. And so you go to the fourth graders and you tell them to recycle these things. And all I'm saying is, and you guys can talk all the chemistry you want, and I understand the value of what you're saying, but I don't understand what you're saying. Polymers, monomers, I mean, all I understand is I have a job to do, and it's to take these items A, B, C, and D, and get them in a blue bin and get them to a MRF. If you want to go back up the production stream and change that, well, that's worthy stuff, but that's nothing that's under my domain. It's not anything that I know about. So all I'm saying is, we got to play the hand we're dealt here.
Yep.
And the hand we're dealt is what is on the state statute right now, and what we're supposed to be collecting right now, and what the shortcomings of that are right now. And I'll tell you, they're big, because you're burning recyclables. Those items that are designated as recyclables aren't recyclable. And so, I don't know the answer to that. That's something that has to occur legislatively. If you're gonna pay, think about this. You're taking plastics like these Poland Springs plastic bottles, okay, and you put it in your single stream recycling, and they take it and they drive it over to Shelton. They take it out of the truck. They put it on conveyors. They separate it. They put it in a barrel. That barrel goes outside. It goes into a truck. That truck turns around, comes right back the other way, goes to Bridgeport, dumps it on the floor there, and they burn it. Now tell me something. What's wrong with that picture? I either stop putting those things in the single stream bucket, or find a way to recycle them, or what you're saying, using different composite to make those things.
Yeah,
but
John,
right now, my job, and I don't want to get too far ahead of this. My job is to observe the laws of this state, and that's what we have to do. As unprofitable as it might be, as inane as it might be, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, John, that's the reality of it, and that's why, as a commissioner, been on it 5 years, 6 years, sometimes we get lost in this quixotic, idealistic quest to make kitchen waste recyclable and all that, and it all gets dumped in a garbage, and it all gets dumped all together in a big pile in the landfill anyway. So we're wasting our time. That's why we want to know the reality of what's going on. Of course, we understand that, but we can still do outreach. We can still talk about it and hope to improve the way we do these things for the well-being of all of us. Yeah.
All John, if I can insert, all John is, I think what he's trying to say is, if we do educational outreach, and I know the subcommittee is going to be attuned to this, we're not going we're not going to spend our time doing educational outreach on something that's just going to increase our costs or achieve full compliance to nothing. So the educational outreach, it's a noble goal that we have it on our thing, but I believe all the subcommittee members know that we're first going to know what the problem is and what the proposed benefits or solutions could be, and then we go to the consumer or to our residents and say, look, we need your help, and most likely they're more than willing to help. There's been some communities in town, if I could just insert this from my meeting of the CCSMM, there's been some communities upstate primarily who tried to introduce different proposals, and they had a dearth of educational outreach, and it was just a top-down forcing, and the things fell flat on their face. So then management or state leaders or whatever, ecologists and Greenpeace people, they look at it and say, oh, that program failed. Well, did the program fail? Was it not? Or was the educational outreach poor? We don't want to get into that situation. We want to know why we're doing something that is going to benefit the town and the community, and then we'll develop an educational outreach program. Somebody on the subcommittee, am I saying it correctly?
Well, yeah, exactly. Okay. Because all we could do right now under the state statute is continue to promulgate whatever that state statute dictates is a recyclable. So you go to the fourth graders and you say, look, here's the literature that comes out of DEP, and here's what you've got to put in your blue bin, and guess what? Nothing changes.
Right?
It's the same contamination, the same worthless stuff that is ending up in landfills, and I don't know how biodegradable those items are. But up in Hartford, where they don't have, where they have the same problems as we have, all of that material is going to landfills in Pennsylvania and Ohio.
Pennsylvania.
I think.
Yep.
Huh?
Ohio, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Presently, they're not biodegradable. Yes.
Right.
Most of the
that's what the state of Connecticut is doing.
Yeah.
That's what DEP has created. They've created a monster. They've created something that sounds good, doesn't work. Okay? And as a matter of fact, not only doesn't it work, it's harmful to the environment what they're doing.
That's right. Especially when they burn.
So, I mean, the answer is, look, you've got to start at the back end of this, not the front end. You've got to start with what is recyclable, what can be recycled
today.
And today.
Yeah.
And it can be recycled and have value, and the towns are eager to follow that program. As it stands now, there's a lot of holes in this. This has not been well thought out. Apparently what they said was, look, we'll go to single stream recycling, and guess what? If we do this, they will come. It's like it's like Field of Dreams. We'll recycle everything, and when we have a lot of this stuff, somebody, private sector will figure out how to bring value to it.
Marketable.
It didn't happen.
So can I ask John a really quick question? It's a yes or no.
Go ahead.
No.
When you ran the Bridgeport plant and you started recycling, that was when it was not single stream, correct? And you got your own markets for the product?
Correct. Well, we didn't get our own market. What we did was we were using the Stratford recycling facility.
Mm-hmm.
On Watson Boulevard there in Stratford. We were all part of the same interlocal. And the interlocal had solid waste agreements for disposal and recycling agreements for disposal. So, but we did recycling at the curb. We had the blue bins, and you used to have to take your newspapers and put them in a paper bag. Remember that?
Yep.
And you couldn't put any colored paper there. It had to be all newsprint. And next to that, you would have your cardboard. Right? There was no Kellogg's cornflake boxes. It was cardboard. And then in the next bin you had glass and cans. And then in the third bin you had your plastics 1, 2, and 7. Right? If you look at the ACR calculations, you'll see there's still value to the good plastics.
And
the problem is and cardboard and tin and aluminum. There's still value for those things. It's glass right now that is the largest component of a ton of recyclables.
John,
go ahead.
John, can I ask you one question? Do they still use the 7 numbers for the various plastics? They still use that. Do they segregate those? Obviously, they don't, right?
No,
they don't
single
segregate.
Stream.
It's all the same, right? None of the numbers are segregated out at this time.
Well, a Poland Springs bottle does not have a number on the bottom, but you know what it is.
It's a 7, right?
Okay. 1, 2, and 7 have value.
Right. Okay. Thank you, John.
So Mr.
Chairman, I have to leave. Thank you. I'll get you that information.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Go ahead, Misty.
No, I mean, I think it's clear that single stream has done nothing for the recycling market, and we've been saying this over and over again. So sorry to interject. Sorry, I didn't mean to drift.
No, I'm glad you see it that way because, I wish it did work. Nothing would make me happier, but
it doesn't.
It's frustrating. It's really frustrating.
It's contamination all around. So.
Does any other subcommittee member have a question that John hasn't covered, or that you guys don't think you'll cover if you get together with him?
Well, I just want to confirm that I think it's a great idea for the subcommittee to get together with John and really get into this. Hopefully in a personal meeting, but if not, certainly in some kind of a Zoom thing, because there's a lot of information here that I'm still working on, and I think we can get a lot of good information from him.
Okay. John, anything else you want to add to us?
Well, I mean, I'm here to answer any questions that you have. We went over operations.
Yep.
I'm going over what I see as the present condition of the state and recycling. I don't know, what's left. I can tell you, I'm very disappointed that no one from Fairfield was on that state group that sent the report. Yeah.
Well,
that was populated by a lot of self-serving people. I mean, there were people in the hauling industry. There were people there were lobbyists. There were people who.
John, if I could just give you a heads up, I attended one of the meetings and I reported to the commissioners my impressions on it. We are now a member. I think you got a copy from First Black Lady's application. So we're a member. She was accepted, but I shared with the subcommittee my total lack of appreciation for the way that they were conducting the proceedings. It seemed to me, with the exception of 2 other people that spoke in support of cost effectiveness and make sure we understand the problem before we come up with a solution, only 2 people spoke to support that. Everybody else was looking for the state to come up with some kind of mandates that were going to cause the towns to redo some kind of bids or Blue Cycle or another program because the current one isn't working. Well, that's a heck of a way to do it without understanding what the problems are. And quite other people that were on the committee had a very specific agenda, i.e. to bring about the closure of the Bridgeport bird plant, along with
ridiculous.
Well,
that is just ridiculous.
Well,
it really is ridiculous.
I know, but in other words, that was one of the presentations by one of the attorneys that's in the DEP, and the reasoning for that was social political, had nothing to do with biological science, recycling, anything. It was simply reasoning inherent and based on social political thought processes. And so anyway, we're a member of the committee. We'll be attending the future meetings, but I'm with you. And why we weren't not part of it earlier is, quite honestly, Misty picked up the ball. She found out about this whole thing way after it started, and then that's the only reason we even got onto it. So anyway.
Well, look, now you can see where the agendas are. The agenda for recycling, and if you look at the solid waste plan for the state of Connecticut, you will see that they're gonna have 66% by 2030 of recycling, right? Well, that was ambitious. So that's how they went to single stream recycling, and they were using tonnage as what do you want to call a measurement?
The measuring stick. Yeah.
Yeah, tonnage.
Right.
And we all know that plastic has the least weight of everything.
There's no tonnage.
And
right.
No tonnage, right? And look, the thing is flawed. It's flawed no matter how you look at this. And you have a guy from DEEP, a lawyer from DEEP, talking about closing down a successful plant that I told you before I negotiated the contract with in 1985.
Right.
And there's never been a day that we haven't been able to bring our solid waste there. And they make 40 gigawatts of energy that they sell to the ISO New England, and they have Eddie, are you there?
Ed?
Okay, Eddie could tell you that they have probably the most regulated stack in the industry. They've never had a citing by the DEP. Nothing. This thing is like the silent hero around here. And 18 towns and 775,000 tons of waste, and you never hear a thing about it. It's successful. Right. Up in Hartford, they've made a mess of it. They've made the biggest mess you could ever understand.
The burn plant.
And the burn plant up there, it was a mess. It was the wrong technology to begin with. It's horrible, and now their answer is putting stuff on trains and sending it to landfills. To me, that disgusts me. After all the effort we put in all the years to try and separate and do something good, and it's DEP, it's Katie Dykes. I was in the room when she was testifying before the Environmental Committee 2 years ago, and I was testifying the exact opposite thing. But she went up there, she drank the Kool-Aid, and it's a policy that was set up by the DE people, and they have their own notions of what works, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So, I don't know what to tell you. And
we don't expect all the solutions tonight, John. You got a couple of days.
Okay, thanks. I need one more day. But I'm just telling you, I've dealt with these agencies in Hartford for decades and decades and decades, and I think one of the best commissioners we ever had was the woman who's in Washington now. She was incredible. What's her name? She was there in 2006 when the solid waste plan came out. She was incredibly bright. I talked to her personally, And
what is she doing at Hartford? What's she doing in Washington?
She has something to do with national, I want to say energy. What is her name? She was a DEP commissioner. She came out of Massachusetts. She was a Boston gal. She was terrific. And her philosophy was this. Make doing the easy thing the right thing.
Right.
Make things easy, and you'll come out doing the right thing. But no, they had to get complicated, and Gina McCarthy was her name. Look her up.
Yeah.
Biden just appointed her to a big position. And Gina was she was a smart as a whip. And she would have made changes in midstream. She would have, she's like John Maynard Keynes used to say.
Yep.
When the facts change, I change my opinion.
Right.
But when you get with these entrenched people up in DEP or DOT, I mean, it's just like this is the way we do it and that's that. I get so frustrated with that because it's a bad policy, and they're unwilling to change. They're unwilling to adapt. And that's a bad sign.
But Gina McCarthy was the head of the EPA under Obama, wasn't she?
Right. Correct.
Oh my goodness, she's most recently the president of the NRDC. Unbelievable.
Okay, look her up. Google her now. She just got appointed by Joe Biden.
Yeah.
For a big national position, something to do with energy. I don't think EPA.
Oh, she's the right-hand man to John Kerry.
Right. What is that position?
Well,
what's that position?
It's the Climate Change Task Force.
Bingo. Okay.
Yeah.
That woman is smart. She would have fixed this as soon as she saw it going sideways. But the people you've had up there since then, and you know who they are.
Mr. Chairman, can we? This is Guy Gleisian. We've got to get back on track. This is not a committee to be discussing political matters or political opinions. Can we just
I appreciate it. I'm sorry. I wanted to give wide berth so that everybody could get their questions answered. So, okay, anybody have a pointed question for John, because we appreciate his time and he's helped us a lot tonight on the subcommittee, especially. Did Andrew ever join on? Okay.
We'll have our meeting. Yeah, we'll meet with him later.
I'm sorry?
We'll meet with him later.
We already said it. Okay, fine. John, thank you very much. If you like, you're welcome to stay. We have to get to our agenda. We appreciate it.
I have something else I need to do.
I know you did, but we appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And
you're welcome.
I'm going to be in touch with you. And I'll try to arrange that meeting with you guys.
Great. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, John.
Bye. Guys, I'm sorry. It's 7:45, and I want to get through this agenda. I thought it was important, and I hope you all agree with me that we have a good relationship and a good established relationship with Mr. Marsilio. And I didn't want to speak out of turn, but I wanted our subcommittee, to get a good feel as to where he's coming from and what information and what background he has, because I don't want you guys spinning your wheels, and I know you don't want to. And I think, do you all agree that was valuable having a good conversation with him?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, on the old bit, so listen, we have 2 minutes. I guess we have to approve the December minutes. Misty, the December minutes is not on the agenda, so I'm going to. We're not going to discuss the December minutes because they're not on the agenda. Will you remind me that we have to bring them up in March?
Yeah.
With the approval of the commission, we're not going to. We're not putting them on the agenda. I'm not going to do it because I forgot to put it on it. I'm sorry. So we have the January minutes, which Josephine, are you still here?
I am. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry to hold you so long, and we're going to try to get moving. Has everybody seen a copy of the January minutes?
Yep.
The agenda says to review the minutes of January and to vote on it. So if everybody's seen a copy, Josephine has gone to extensive effort to try to correct it and to revise it. One of the things that we all need to be very aware is that these minutes are being recorded, and other members of the public, of course, are on these meetings. So everything's on here is public. So just a word to the wise. Does anybody have a comment with respect to the minutes of Monday, January 11th, 2021?
Hugh, it's Guy Gleistein. I have a general comment about all minutes that might be helpful to the commission and also Josephine.
Yep.
Generally speaking, the most important thing for minutes is to record decisions made, not the full conversation. So board minutes, commission minutes need to capture the topic, the decision, and the vote. I think I know because I went through and I sent some typo things back to Josephine, but we don't need to capture the whole conversation in the minutes. It might be much more helpful to have something slimmed down.
I appreciate that, and I think Josephine will. And so sometimes maybe more bulletized where the essence of the conversation is recorded. And if we need to, we can always go back to the actual recording.
Exactly. So that the record is there. That's there by law. But the minutes really need to be about the decisions that we reach.
Yeah, and that way I think that it would take a little bit of a load off our secretary, which we appreciate. Not that she's not willing to do it, but she's trying to be very diligent. Do I have any changes to the minutes as they're published? Because we've already got this document. We're going to vote on this document that we have here. It's a minutes dated Monday, January 11th, 7 o'clock p.m. via teleconference of Fairfield, Connecticut Solid Waste and Recycling Commission. Can I have a motion?
I make a motion. Accept the minutes.
Okay, it's by Misty. Any second? By Guy? Okay, and we have a motion to accept the minutes of January 11th. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so the January 11th minutes are accepted. They have passed. December 7th minutes, only because of our rules, we're going to we're going to vote on those in March. The next item on the old business, I gave you already an update on the CCSMM. First Select Lady has requested our membership, and Katie Dykes has agreed wholeheartedly. She was actually pretty happy, I guess, although I had been up there twice and spoken with her, and I in my conversation, it seemed like they didn't think that Fairfield wanted to join, but I don't know. So anyway, we're a member. Education and Outreach Subcommittee. Guy, do you want to give us a quick synopsis, or would you like to? We all got your update this evening. Did everybody get Guy's update this evening?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So we all have that. You don't have to read that, Guy, but do you want to give an update, or do you want to hold off on the update because it's 10 minutes, 5 minutes to 8, and then meet with John, and you guys gather together again and see if you want to hold or focus any of the charter? What do you think?
I would just like to. We'll do all those things, but I'd like to invite any input that the commissioners might have.
Okay. Well, right now, I think the only commissioners are you guys.
No. The full commissioners. So Joe, and I guess Andrew's not on the call, but
right. That's what I'm saying. Andrew, and Joe are not here, and I've shared with you.
Joe's already rolled off. So no, then Hugh, I defer. We'll give an update once we meet with John.
Yeah, just to give full disclosure to the committee, if I have a comment or something, I'll share it with you guys, and I'll try to share it with each of you, so that I'm not talking to any one of you individual, because I want us to be on the same page. Sustainability Report, Fairfield Task Force. Misty?
Yeah, I'm. It says Sustainable Task Force, but it's actually the Food and Waste Subcommittee that I'm going to be the liaison for, and it is very good that we joined the CCSMM because there are going to be some pilot programs.
Wait a minute. What subcommittee is this?
It's the subcommittee. Well, it's out of the Sustainable Task Force. It's the one called Waste and Food Subcommittee.
Okay, it's a subcommittee of the Sustainable Fairfield Task Force.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, go ahead.
Because we're running so late, I just want to say that there's going to be some interesting pilot studies that will be coming out of the CCSMM working groups that we'll want to, possibly evaluate and see if we want to get engaged with. So it's very good, Hugh, that we're a part of this this organization.
Okay.
There's a number of things that the Food and Waste Subcommittee are looking at. I think it's probably best that I present those to the subcommittee, and then through evaluation, we support or we make recommendations according to some of the research that's been diligently researched through these groups.
Misty, you confused me a little bit, and I don't mean to be obtuse, but when you say subcommittee, you're going to present to the subcommittee. Are you talking about our subcommittee?
No, I'm saying I'm serving as a liaison for the Food and Waste Subcommittee, or Food and Waste Subcommittee of the Sustainable Fairfield Task Force. So,
but are they doing something different than what you people are doing?
They're doing a lot of things, Hugh. They're looking at mattress recycling. They're looking at...
No, I'm just talking about food and waste.
No, there's no, Hugh, it's Guy. There's no overlap. We're just connecting with them.
Okay, okay, good. Okay.
We're not doing anything that they're doing.
Good.
I'm looking at the Sustainable Fairfield agenda here. Food and waste is only one of many things they're looking at. So, yeah.
Right.
Okay,
right.
Okay, good. Okay.
The group that I'm planning on reporting on is the subcommittee of the Food and Waste. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay? So I think we need to move on.
All right. Okay. The next item, special committee to generate a management report. I'm going to defer that to the next month. I'd like to meet again with John and look at, and also Ed, and look at some of the metrics with which John found it successful to manage in Trumbull and Easton and Monroe and Bridgeport, and see if we have those metrics in place here and see if they can be components of a management report. Update on Silver Petroselli and Associates performed a study. I don't know if we have an update on it. Is Ed on the phone? Is Ed on the call? Is Ed Bowman with us?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Misty, I think you put that on there because we talked about it at the last meeting.
Yeah,
I thought Petroselli report, and that was the report from that the First Selectman's chief officer there told us about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did we get a copy of that?
Hugh, I don't mean to interrupt, but I have another call that I have to attend at 8 o'clock, so I'm going to have to ring off. Thank you.
I want to make a suggestion. Since Ed Bowman is on the next four issues, if he's not here, maybe we should defer to the next meeting.
Yeah, I think we should. All right. Okay, guys. Who just left us?
Guy.
Oh, yeah.
Guy. Okay, so who do we have left? Do we have 4 left?
Tim,
Tim is here.
Me, you. That's 4.
Okay, so we just have a quorum, but new business. We don't have any new business to discuss except for Misty. You were going to bring up that the member of the public who sent an email.
Yes, Becky Bennell sent an email about the fact that the haulers are going to go under review of contract, and it might be a good time. She was making a suggestion from the public that we look at the possibility of trying to evaluate, or not evaluate, but make stickers that can be pasted on or adhere to the blue recycle bins that are clearly marked in terms of what we can and can't put in those bins. Because right now there's a lot of confusion, and there's, even on top of all the contamination that happens just by mixing plastics and glass, there's just a lot of abuse about what goes into those blue bins. So the stickers would be something that it's not like an ouch sticker, so it's not like they're being aggressive with their clients, but it's just simply an educational opportunity to try to clean up what's going into those recycle bins.
Okay, so go ahead.
They're looking at different ways to fund this program, and so that's what Becky wanted to talk about.
Okay. Who's they? Who's this they?
Becky and the Sustainable Task Force Food and Waste Subcommittee.
Yep.
Oh, which you're already a liaison on.
Yes, but the details.
Okay.
So how does the public get to report on something like that, or do I have to just get into the details of it?
Well, at this point, I don't know if the commission wants to start studying about changing the rules or things that the haulers have to do.
Oh, what we should do this. Becky will write a formal proposal. This will be reviewed at the subcommittee meeting, and then we will be reporting on it from the subcommittee. Okay?
Yeah, but understand. Before I think we want to make changes as a commission, we want to clearly understand what the problems are. Is our change going to cost money? Is it going to further hamper operations? Is it going to bring about a positive change? There are a lot of ideas and a lot of things that people want to do, but they all don't necessarily hit the goal line. We as a commission have to make sure that what we're aiming for are touchdowns, so things that are going to make a difference, and not just put a burden on the haulers or put a burden on people. The last thing I want to do, believe me, I work in a lot of town buildings, and I sat through a lot of this nonsense where we have rules to do this, rules to do this, and rules to do this, and the firehouses, for example, they have to separate everything into different bins, and then the town garbage truck or the town sanitation truck comes and picks the stuff up and puts it all into the same hopper.
Yep.
And the guys look at me and say, Dolan, what are you doing? Right? Because they're enforcing the rules that you got to separate, and then the town orange truck comes to pick up at the stations, and it all goes into the very same back of the truck. So we have to make sure that we have rules that are reasonable, that are based on logic, that are based on common sense, and that are going to be effective. So if you're going to look at it that way, then I think that we would look at it favorably.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good point.
And you could report back to us.
Yep. I just the time and in terms of the way these meetings are teleconferenced, that's the way we should do it.
Yeah, and I the only new business I was going to bring up was what I started in the beginning. I think we need to get on a WebEx so we can see each other and know who's talking, and I mean, obviously it'd be great if we all get together, but until we can do that, we need to do it a little better than this, I think.
I agree. We have that down.
Yeah, but
I'm going to work on that.
You're working on that. That's great.
Okay. Any other new business?
Yes.
The only new business we have a DVR, but if you're interested, UConn's playing South Carolina. You can see the second half if you don't have a DVR. Big game.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks, guys. Okay.
All right. We're going to adjourn. It's at 8:07.
No.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Yes. Yes.
Ah.
Yes.
One of the things what we didn't talk about, and I had down on new business, was that we were going to look at studying the solid waste recycling plan, because we don't think that sheet that Michael gave us was any kind of plan whatsoever. So that was one of the things that we were going to put down in new business. I had written you an email.
Yeah, the recycling plan.
Yeah.
We don't have a copy of that yet. They have to have one from several years ago that needs to be updated. We haven't seen it. I'm going to talk to John about that.
Yeah. Okay. You'll follow up with Ed. Maybe Tom Bremer was going to look for that, right?
Yeah. I'm going to talk to John or Ed and see which one of them can get it for us.
Well, I just want to make sure it doesn't fall on out of our radar.
Yep. I got you. Misty, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Josephine.
Bye, Misty. Take care.
Bye, Josephine. Good night, Josephine. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.